I've been traveling with YouTubers Elle and Anabelle from Voiliers les Copains on their boat Petit Chantier to gain some open water sailing experience. We started our journey in Stewart, then traveled down the Intercoastal Waterway to West Palm, where we left the inlet and crossed the Gulf Stream to enter Little Bahama Bank at Memory Rock, a little ways north of West End. We then continued on to Great Sale Cay. In this episode, we'll take a look at the remainder of our journey to Green Turtle Cay, where we're scheduled to check into the Bahamas. It's been a terrific trip thus far, and I've been learning a lot about how to answer the big question on my mind. How do I get my family ready to make an ocean passage?
So tonight it's the yacht that conquered the sun. Instead of the green light. Well, all right.
With the sunrise.
She's loving you.
So it's the morning after our passage onto the Bahama Bank. We are here at Great Sale Cay, and we're getting ready to pull up the anchor and head out to Green Turtle Cay and the Abacos, hopefully to arrive this evening. We stopped last night at Great Sale Cay, which is just over there. So just thinking this morning, you know, I'm taking this trip to try and sort of figure out how to take my family out, and I'm trying to sort of note down things that I'm noticing about sailing, passage making. I think the thing about passage making is it's not a short-term deal. It's a long thing, even if you're just sailing for 24 hours. So there's the arc of a passage is long, and and things change a lot from beginning to end. So I think that's going to be something that we're really going to have to think about how we're going to manage, because you know, things can be really bad at one point, can be much better later. Get worse, they can change, and you know, you do your best to sort of understand that, predict it. I don't know, there's going to be a lot to think about, but it feels so possible today. You know, ask me at the end of this journey whether it still feels possible, but it feels really possible today, and that's incredibly exciting. I guess it's blowing. It says it's blowing 12 here. 13 knots in 16 feet of water. So it's gotten a bit windier, gotten a bit cooler. I think one of the big things that makes passages work and sort of longer term voyages work, other than just like going from place to place in protected waters where you're sort of always in very close proximity to rescue if you get in trouble, is that you really have to trust the boat. Elle and Anabelle are really excited about the boat and how good she feels and how, you know, how strong she is. They totally trust it, and so that gives them a lot of confidence and the ability not to be stressed, not to be worried. So then the question is just how do we get there with our boat? And, you know, sailing with a family, there's going to be a lot to think about. Like, where is everybody going to be when we're underway? on a beautiful day, everybody's going to want to be outside, so we're going to have to sort of make sure we have a sense of how to manage that, and there's probably going to be some securing of things below deck that we're going to need to do so it's safe indoors when we're bouncing around and heeled over quite a bit. It'll be a big adjustment. And it's going to take some practice, I think, for us to be in a position to sort of deal with a longer day.
My spot. I'm sick of being full of salt and wind. Now I protect myself.
The wind is now over 20 knots apparent. So we've gone from a force 3, gentle breeze, 8 to 12 knots in the early morning, to a force 4, moderate breeze, 13 to 18 knots as we got moving, to a force 5, fresh breeze, 18 to 24 knots at midday. We'll make it up to force 6, a strong breeze, 25 to 31 knots, gusting almost to force 7, a moderate gale by the end of the day. The conditions are always changing. You can feel the changes gradually if you pay attention. The boat stiffens in its heel a bit, the gusts get a little stronger. The sails grow ever so slightly tauter, the strain on the sheets tightens a bit. So Elle took another reef in the sail before I would have expected, and when the wind was blowing 20 knots, the sails were trimmed to handle it. I'm learning a lot from Elle, the way he attends to things, checks things, looks, and adjusts. Captaining a boat isn't just about steering. Indeed, I'm learning that steering is only a small part of it. It's all about attending, watching, waiting. It's about making changes, little adjustments. Because the environment is always changing. There's always something to adjust to. So there are two kinds of learning to undertake. First, learning how to open up your senses as wide as possible, to be aware of more and more of the environment. And, second, learning what it is possible to do on the boat, to adjust that environment that you are becoming increasingly aware of. Alright, we're still sailing along. The wind has picked up. We've seen gusts up to 28, 30 knots. So it's kind of intense out here. The waves are still pretty small because we're in the lee of Little Abaco Island right now. You know, this would be really intense conditions for our boat. This boat is handling it just fine, though we're heeled over. Let me look at our chart. It says only about 10 degrees, 10, 15 degrees. So not that much, but it, you know. So in any event, all of that gets me thinking about like one of the things that we're gonna have to think about is what's everybody gonna be doing over the course of the passage. We're about a day underway in the Intercoastal Waterway, then 24 hours almost straight underway crossing the Gulf Stream and getting to Great Sale Cay, where we anchored for a few hours, and then started another essentially full day-long trip to Green Turtle Cay. It's a little wet.
Yeah, we just got a wave in the cockpit. A little bit of not a wave, a splash in the cockpit.
I'm behind the spray dodger, so that saved me. But you know, that's a long time. So you know, what are the girls going to do? Where and how are they going to play? You know, it's a lot of time watching and steering, and the conditions out here are relatively intense. So we're going to have a plan for how to manage that. Yeah, we're just going to have to do some thinking through of like who is going to be where And how are we going to manage life when we're underway? I mean, on a day like this, honestly, we'd probably be at anchor, ideally. Waiting for it to calm down a little bit. This would be a lot for our boat. But even on a good day, a sort of light day in the ocean, there are a lot of balls to keep in the air. When you've got, you know, a 3-year-old who just wants to play and walk around, a 5-year-old who's hanging. There's a 26, 27 knot gust. It's back down to 25 just as I show the thing. You know, a 12-year-old who's capable of steering the boat. An 8-year-old who's learning. A mama who's always busy. And a papa who's inevitably tired. It's going to be a lot to get everything straight, but water like this, everything seems possible. Too slow on the draw. Well, it was gusting to 29, I promise. Filming you in the galley.
Nice, yes, it's smoking here. Now cooking some popcorn. This is like the best snack for sailing ever. The only problem with this is that it flies away. So we need to eat it quick.
I admire the athleticism of just moving across the boat.
I have some places to hold, like here, that's good. Now I need the salt. So here we go. Salt. Hey, not that bad.
No? That probably looked really easy on camera, but it's
yeah,
there you go. That's a good shot.
Yeah. Any like salty, dry food like crackers, soda biscuits, chips, popcorn helps really. I think it's good for seasickness.
Yeah, I pick up the glass. I was saying earlier, I stress of the unknown mostly. Basically, to get out of the stress for me when we sail, it's always to find a measure of action. Always to find, okay, the wind is picking up, that stress me. It's normal because you need to care. You need to be always in the reaction with the boat. And let's say the wind is picking up, but okay, you have to reef down. You have to do something always. If your mind works and say I'm stressed of that, just do something about it. And it's always gets better. Like the song of the Beatles. Better. It's getting better all the time. It's a love song, but that's what it is, I think.
So what if it gets worse?
If it gets worse, the what you don't control can get worse, but this you don't worry about. Like what you control, that's the action that you control. That's what makes it better. But it keeps getting worse, and like the weather gets worse. You cannot control it, so you don't worry about this. You worry about what you can do. That's the point. What the action can I make to make it better.
Say something charming. It's the end of the journey.
Yeah.
What do you think?
We're arriving at our anchorage, and we're celebrating with some white wine here.
A bit of Tabaco.
Tabaco 5.
Okay, good sailing.
Alright, so we are at the end of of our passage. There is our destination, Green Turtle Cay, over there. But we're going to stay the night over here on the south side, no, the north side of Little Abaco Island. I guess the west side of Little Abaco Island, because the wind is going to be coming from the west a little bit later tonight. Anabelle is steering us the rest of the way. We'll drop anchor soon. You know, having an endpoint, a place to throw down the anchor, is so important. One of my family's struggles with sailing is that we're not very good at practicing. If we're going to sail, we've got to be going somewhere. Which is why it is going to be important when we get back on the boat to start moving again, to give ourselves little destinations, little points of arrival, to build up our sense of the possible, to learn to trust our boat and ourselves, so that we can make the journeys we feel called to make.